You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
Sean Marks, New Zealand basketball royalty, one of the highest profile Kiwi sports administrators in the world. He was the first New Zealand-born player to feature in the NBA, played for the Toronto Raptors, the Miami Heat, San Antonio Spurs, Phoenix Suns, New Orleans Hornets and the Portland Trail Blazers. He won 2 championships with the San Antonio Spurs, one as a player in 2005, one as an assistant coach in 2014. Played for the Tall Blacks from 2000 to 2006, including both the 2000 and 2004 Olympic Games, and memorably was part of the iconic Tall Blacks team that finished 4th at the 2002 FIBA World Championships in Indianapolis.
Good hustle from Kirk Piney. Turnaround jumper. Sean Marks nails it on the turnaround jumper. The Kiwis are level. We're back. 56. We're back, Bob. 69 all. The Kiwis have stormed back into the game. Scores level. Time ticking away. We're down to 7 seconds. It's all over, Bob. It's all over. Dickel doesn't even have to put up the shot. He hangs on to it, knocks it back outside. Phil Jones at the buzzer.
The Kiwis, and he
scores in. He got a 3.
Oh,
New Zealand with an historic win. 90-81. Can't believe it.
What do you say, Bob? Give me 5 for that. That was absolutely brilliant. The Kiwis, unbelievable against the Russians. Such a powerhouse in World Basketball Championships. The Kiwis come alive. 90-81. And Phil Jones nailed the 3 on the buzzer.
Oh, gee, that brings back plenty of memories, even 21 years on. For the last 7 years, Sean Marks has been general manager of the Brooklyn Nets in the NBA, and he joins us now out of the United States. Sean, such a pleasure to have you on Weekend Sport across New Zealand. Just listening back to some of that commentary from '02, and when you think back, what stands out most vividly about that 2002 World Championship with the Tall Blacks?
Yeah, gosh, Jason, thanks for having me. It's a tricky one. There's so many fond memories of that. You know, I think anytime you get to wear your country's colors and jersey, it's something very special and stands out. And, it's stuck with me forever and will continue, it's the teammates that you go through that with. You're traveling around the world preparing for those games, and then you get to go out there and you see a fan base. The Kiwis have a pretty loyal fan base, so we would have fans travel with us and meet us, at these various stops along the way and come and support, which was absolutely incredible. And nothing quite like starting a game with a haka. So there's just so many memories there. That it would be too difficult to just list 1 or 2.
How special was that group of players, that group of men, Pero Cameron, Phil Jones, Mark Dickel, Dylan Boucher, Port Henare, yourself, a young Kirk Penny? It feels like a perfect storm of players.
Yeah, it was a really unique group. A lot of us had actually sort of played, under 16s, under 18s, under 20s, sort of we'd grown up together. We knew each other a lot longer than, just a training camp prior to the World Champs or the Olympics. We'd sort of known each other for, in some cases, probably 10, 12 years at that point. So we've gone. That's important to have those relationships off the court, and it was special, and it showed on the court. It was a great group of guys, and the funny thing is we're all pretty much in contact still to this day, and following each other and all our various endeavors, continue in the sport.
Did Pero feel like a guy who would go into coaching?
It's in some ways he was always a coach. His IQ is off the charts, basketball IQ, and as captain of that team, he would lead us, and I think he knew the plays, and the game was very slow for him. I mean, it slowed down. That's just how high his IQ was. So he saw the game differently. So it doesn't surprise me at all that he's into coaching, and being able to tell stories is something very important for coaches or anybody in some sort of leadership position, and he can do that because he's seen it and lived it firsthand, which is very important.
Just unpack that a little bit for us. So in terms of telling stories, so from his lived experience, is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's very rare that you get somebody who can sit up there in front of a new group of young men like the case now, and Pero can say, hey, look, by the way, when we came and took on the U.S. way back in 2000 and 2002 and 2004, and when we played for this game against China, and when we played this game, it's a lived experience. He's been there, he's done it on the court, so he knows exactly what this team is going in for tomorrow when they face the US, and exactly what pool play will look like. So his own experiences, nobody can tell a story better than Pera.
As you say, it is a younger and less experienced team than the one you were part of in 2002. What should our realistic expectations be of how the Tall Blacks will go against the star-studded US side?
Well, I think the US side is obviously a very good one. I mean, this is, they're arguably the favorites to win the whole thing. But again, you go into these tournaments, anything can happen. And it's about the build-up, it's about health, and it's about how you play as a team. I mean, the international game is quite different than an NBA game, so it's going to look different. The rules are a little bit different, and how the game is played. So this is a heck of an experience for the group of young Tall Blacks to go out there and on a world stage, really playing a game that many of them probably have only just dreamed about, playing against some of the American stars and so forth. But it's a great opportunity for them to sort of measure their skills against these guys and learn, and it'll be something that they'll tell their kids and grandkids about for many, many years.
And in terms of preparation for a game like this, Sean, when it is such a glittering array of stars on the other side of the court, how do you strike the right balance between not wanting to give everything you can, not getting intimidated, not getting nervous? It must be almost impossible.
I think the nerves are kind of out the window as soon as the ball goes up. I don't think anybody's too worried about that. And, the U.S. team also, on their side, they know every game they're playing, they're going to get the opponent's best shot. Everybody knows that this is their opponent's one opportunity to play against the U.S. side potentially. So it's no easy task for the U.S. team either. So it's going to be an interesting tournament. I think as you see where the world of basketball has gone, there's far more parity now. I think you look at just the NBA, and a quarter of the players over here are foreign-born players, so and hold foreign passports and are representing in the World Cup or the Olympics next year. So that just shows how much the game has grown, and the parity amongst these teams all over is something that's just great for the sport.
You've done a lot on and off the court in your basketball career. More to come, Sean. Where does putting on that black singlet sit in terms of the things you've done on and off the basketball court?
If it's not number one, it's number 1A. I've always said there's absolutely nothing like representing New Zealand or representing your country for that matter. It's not always easy to be able to get away and come back in the off seasons and so forth. But at the same time, again, those memories, opening ceremonies, I was happy to and very, very fortunate to be able to do 2 of those. To walk out there with some of the best athletes in the world from all their respective sports, that's something as a young Kiwi kid you only dream of, and that's motivating. And now, I'm a little longer in the tooth here. I do miss those days. I certainly look back and go, wow, did I savor them for everything they were worth? So I do hope this group of young men over in Manila, just soak up every little instance of what they're about to embark on, which is just great memories.
And just on your current role, I mean, GM of the Brooklyn Nets, that is a high-profile job, man. And we all watch from afar at the names you deal with and the high-profile conversations you have to have, and the pressure and the spotlight that must be on you. How do you deal with all of that?
Well, I'm very fortunate. I've got a great, family nucleus here, so they let me do what I do and they support me, which is wonderful. Because it's certainly not an easy job, but I know exactly what I signed up for. I'm very fortunate that I've got a great group of men and women that I work alongside with here, and like any industry or any company, you're only as good as the people you hire and that they can push you and be around you. So I'm very fortunate in that way, and we're lucky. We've got a great partner and owner in Joe Tsai, and there's never a dull moment. It is pro sports. We knew that 7 years ago, and we signed up for this gig that things change on an hourly basis, and so it's proven to be that correct. But at the end of the day, if you can do it with people you respect and enjoy going to work with every day, it makes it, again, a culmination of sort of many, many lifelong dreams, so I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Fantastic. And new NBA season, couple of months away now? How do you think the Nets are shaping up for the new campaign?
Yeah, good. It's been an exciting summer for us. Obviously, the roster's changed quite a bit. Our expectations to go out there and compete have not, though. So the goal here is to always compete. We're in the market we are, which is, in New York. We want to go out there and put a competitive team out there. I think the Nets, we've all put ourselves in a position to have an exciting few years here, where we've got a much younger roster than we've had in the past, and a lot of guys with some chips on their shoulder, which I think is really important. They're pretty self-motivated. They don't need to listen to me or anybody else, for that matter, for motivation. They've got something to prove. So this will be an exciting year to see sort of, how we can all come together as a group and how we can build this camaraderie. And then, where do we go over the next few years? We have a lot of draft assets down the line to continue to build with and add to this roster that we currently have.
And just finally, you've had a closer view than most of us of Steven Adams. Can you just give us an idea of his impact in the NBA? And just the second part of that question, does your gut tell you that he'll ever play for the Tall Blacks?
Well, all my interactions with Steven over here have been incredibly refreshing. I mean, to have a fellow Kiwi over here and a young man like that who doesn't take himself too seriously, takes the job very, very seriously, but doesn't take himself too seriously, and is able to put things in perspective whenever he's talking to his media and teammates and so forth. He's highly respected. He's loved. I mean, we talk about how tough he is over here, but I think one thing that's missed is just how great of a teammate he is. So it's great that he's playing at this stage in his career over here. I would obviously hope that he plays for New Zealand at some point and can come back there and represent, because I know there's a lot of Kiwi kids back there that certainly look up to him and would love to see him in a Tall Blacks uniform. But again, as I mentioned before, it's not always as easy and as straightforward, to come back in the off seasons. I mean, we all know Steven's been banged up with a couple of injuries over the last year, so hopefully he gets healthy and can get out there and obviously play this year in the NBA, and who knows what happens in the next off-season. Yeah,
we'll keep our fingers crossed. Sean, such a pleasure to chat to you. Thank you so much for joining us across New Zealand. It's been great to catch up.
Absolutely. All the best. Cheers.
Thanks, Sean. Sean Marks there. What a life he leads, dealing with, the very, very top level of sport, not only in America but across the world, as the general manager of the Brooklyn Nets. And but great to reminisce as well about that World Championship back in 2002 in Indianapolis. It was what a time to be alive that was.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday, or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.